Hello and welcome to AmassGames. Thanks very much for joining me. Today I'm going through the top 250 games of all time. This is based on over 1,500 games I've played, and this is the second part of the list. There is a playlist. Please check out the playlist on AmassGames and you'll see there are numerous other lists, but for this one it's around the top 250 games of all time. I will be in future just doing a top 100 each year pretty much, but for now this is basically just a bit more of an in-depth thing, just to say what is outside of that top 100 for now. I know some people just want to see our top 100, but I think it gives you a bit of context, and to let you know this does include expansions and promos, because some games I think are better with them, and in fact I typically would rather play other games than say a game without such expansions, and I don't necessarily rate them. So there might be some in here and in future games lists as well. But let's crack on with number 225. Now, any questions, please put in the comments. Check out the description as well for any updates. I reply very quickly. Additionally, hit the like button if you're enjoying the content. Subscribe if you haven't already. And let's go on. So we have 225. Now, I'm deliberately showing you this just as a digital format as opposed to showing a copy in person, just because I find it's a bit swifter to sort of show you things, and it gives you a little more insight around actually, well, here I am up here, Boulderman, and that's to do with an old name whereby I was playing a game and they thought I meant Batman. So 8 out of 10 I give this game. This doesn't necessarily correlate with my position on the games, that's just currently how much I would like to play it, as opposed to how great I think the game is. So I've played this only 3 times. There are other Pandemic games on this list, and I've played all Pandemics currently apart from one, I believe, and this one is a great Pandemic. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this particular version. I think there are better ones out there. What I like about the game is the fact that you have various kind of control towers, these waters that pump things, which feels like, it almost feels overpowered. It feels like a nice kind of introduction to Pandemic. Having said that, there are some things you need to watch out for, such as the way these dikes are created. And yeah, it's a game whereby it doesn't have much love compared to other ones in this series, this particular series around Iberia. Things which are basically, you've taken Pandemic and then you kind of localized it to a certain area. So anyway, that has been Rising Tide in at 225. On to 224, we have Kemet. This is an area control game, a dudes on the map kind of game, a bit like Risk, I guess, is its kind of predecessor from years ago. And it's in the series, you have Kemet, you have Cyclades. I've yet to play an Inish. I prefer Kemet over Inish or Inis currently, partially I think due to the player count and the variability. Lots of different cards that you might want to use, like a cards organizer, something like this. Well, not necessarily this, you'll see pictures on AmassGames on Instagram, but basically you can paint up these very scorpion-like, these various things that represent obviously Egypt and the mythological gods. And what's great about this particular game is on this map, what you're able to do is you can pretty much reach any space within a couple of locations. So you can go across here, whatever it might be, and everybody's basically in reach to basically attack somebody. It encourages attack, which is a good thing to do. You don't want to just, stronghold yourself. And yeah, I've only played it a couple of times. I think it's, deserves a lot of respect, and it's definitely something that should be on people's lists as something to play if they want to try out area control and play it, really well. So Don't Get Got. This is something I picked up in Essen in 2018. This is a game whereby you're going to have things in your hand, and I do have a video on the channel, so please type in Don't Get Got Essen Edition and then AmassGames, or even just AmassGames Essen, and you'll see stuff like this. And this is a game whereby you're playing out a card and nobody knows what it is, but you might be saying something like, they're trying to make you do something and try and make sure people don't spot you doing something. For example, stacking something 3 high, or saying the same word twice. It could be something like that, so you can edit it a lot. So this is not necessarily an expansion, you can just play on its own, but basically it's a few extra cards, 12 in fact, of the game Don't Get Got, where ultimately you're playing something and you don't want people to get you, to spot what you're trying to do. Interesting game. So that was by Big Potato Games. Pictionary, a bit of an older game, this one. So this is a game I've played since my childhood. 18 plays doesn't sound that much for such an old game. It could well be a much higher, to be honest. But I know there's at least kind of 18 lying around. It's something played a lot with the family. And yes, it's the mechanisms here is all about drawing, but it isn't just about drawing. You're trying to kind of work together. I think the roll, spin and move is something that people dislike about it. But yeah, you're trying to all get people to draw certain things, and ultimately, yeah, you don't have to be good at it, but you're trying to obviously work with people in a kind of charades fashion to win. So that is Pictionary, an older one there. And if we just go back one stage to Pictionary, apologies for the delay in the lag slightly, broadband is being changed. You know, there's nothing there linking about to actually wins, but I think it was a great example when it came out. So Peloponnese, this is a kind of Greek-themed kind of game. Now this Burns name, I don't recognise completely apart from the name Burned, so we'll open him up in a second, check out his profile page. So this is, yeah, as I said, it's a Greek-related game. It's an auctioning game. There's a card game as well, which I don't rate as much. But I really did like this game. Like I said, sometimes games just you see someone bring a game along, you play it and go wow, and you play it again, and then you know they got so many games, they bring other games next time. But this was for a long time a game that I did really want to potentially own and play. Currently, I don't have a major need to do that, only because of various access to such a game anyway. But yeah, it's a very interesting game. Like I say, you're trying to place things out, you're trying to get the best score possible. It's a competitive game, and yeah, you're trying to deal with various goods to barter with and improve what you can do for your particular island. So there's just some images. Apologies for not elaborating on this more. There's various things you can do, various things you can try and expand. You start off with basically a core location, and you're going to be going outwards, and it's going to give you extra abilities. So a bit of an overview there. Not a very good explanation. Apologies, I haven't done a video for this one yet. That is Peloponnese. So about this chap here, he has done some other games. Unfortunately, I haven't played them yet. Just going to open up this one. It sounds familiar. But as you can see, a German designer, and he likes his Greek-themed games a lot. Or in this instance, Ancient World. In this instance, a Roman-themed game. So this is the card game variant, slightly lower rating. Sometimes you get that with card games. So we have another unlock here. This time it's from the Exotic Adventures set of 3, Ninth Bogeyman. Again, 8+, great game for me. Interesting theme, a bit chilling, a bit quite creepy in my opinion, and still very good. I just want to say that with all the unlocks, I can't fault any of them in the sense that everybody should be playing them. Having said that, I said this one in particular, compared to others, because again, I'm not scraping the barrel by any means, this is the top 6th of all the games I've ever played. I think there are better unlocks out there. So if you're looking for a really good unlock out there, as good as this one is, I think there's some great exploration. There is some in this game too, but compared to others, I think there are some better alternatives in Unlock by Space Cowboys. Nimble. This is a dexterity game. This is a bit like Doppel, or you could say Snap. But the twist on this, which is a similar game I saw in 2018 at Essen Spiel Fair, is the fact that you're trying to play a card and it's got to be partially similar to what you already have. This is a great example. Please check out my video as well. That is also on the channel. Just type in Nimble space AmassGames, also in the Pegasus Spieler playlist. And if I play this card, the next card has to be this card on top, because this inner symbol matches that. Now you can place either way. I'm happy to say if you play this, you've got to play the outside. I think that might be the right way, as long as you're being consistent. But you're trying to get rid of all your cards over, I believe, 3 rounds. So you can have a big deck of cards, and you're trying to go through that deck a couple of times. The first person to do it wins. A bit like patting your head and rubbing your stomach and then alternating. Once you get used to it, it clicks quite well. As you'll see, I don't believe it's got many people have played it, but it's a small box and a Port Royal size, which I do like from Pegasus Spieler. I feel they've kind of championed that size, and as you can see, I have played it a fair amount of times. So I think if we look at it, we'll actually find that probably no one's really played it as much. Maybe they have. I'm generally on the front page for most games. And oh no, yeah, some people have really rocketed on. You need to have people who want to play it too. That's another factor. So Undo, another Pegasus Spieler games, also of the same size. This is 600 seconds. This is the 6th game officially, although 7th game if you include Treasure Fever, which doesn't come in a box like this, and is a kind of a smaller game. And anyway, so 600 seconds. It just came out. I played this on New Year's Eve, which is when this game is set. So that was a really, really cool theme to play like for like. We played at 10 o'clock in the evening. No, it takes about an hour. So I was really keen to get it played and actually figure out everything else about it before midnight struck. Very tense for that reason, just to fit it all in. And it really amped up the theme dramatically. 7.5, so it isn't, I'm dipping it down compared to some other bits, and the reason for that is crucially, I find that if you are, with some undos, you might find that you're going to realise there are certain ways something can be interpreted. I'm not saying it should always be the right way, the most obvious way, because it's a bit too predictable. Maybe without rushing too much, playing this as a 2, there's a risk that you go, oh, in hindsight, would have done that. The story's fine. I just feel that there's some bits in there which just don't chime as well as others. I think there's a bit of tutting going on, and if that affects your gameplay, then that's not good. We didn't get a bad score, so again, spoiler free, and also there's something a bit different in this one that we just didn't see in terms of you might discover something, and I feel like it was very unusual that we just didn't discover those things. It wasn't a negative, in terms of we didn't discover it. That wasn't a bad thing, but it was just interesting the choices we made. I'm curious how often people make different choices. But it's set in LA, and the theme, I mean, it's probably one of the best ones. It's basically Die Hard. He's in a tower and he's trying to defuse a bomb, so that comes across really well, and I highly recommend it. So there's another undo coming as well, based in an avalanche and trying to save multiple people, which sounds amazing. So they keep on amping up the different trilogies better and better. So this is Escape Adventures Island of Dr Gorse. This one works best with more players, typically 4, which is exactly spot on. Just because, and keeping it spoiler free, there's a bit more of a teamwork, you might say. It's all teamwork, there's no hidden agenda, but it just works better for 4 players without wanting to say anything more than that. You just need a few more hands, is one way of maybe putting it, without hopefully confusing people. You'll kind of get what I mean without, I don't know, giving anything away. So that's fine. Means it's fine. I think there's a lot to discover. And again, with more, you might struggle to, sometimes you just look at something, a puzzle, you can't always work it out. It takes you a few seconds. It's just maybe how the magic highness of the brain might trick things in. But yeah, this is the Island of Dr Gorse. Again, another game on this list, and it is also, of course, unlock. And you will find multiple entries. Again, the reason being, as I stated in the other video, is if I only did one unlock, then which one? And then for that reason, would you pick one over another? And you might make the wrong choice. So I didn't want to do it like that. So that is by Space Cowboys. Cartographers. It seems quite far down the list. Now, this might well change, and I have played it again another time since. I got this very beginning of January, literally the first week of January 2020. May have been 2019, in fact. In fact, I think it was. So I literally got this extremely early, before people even knew what Cartographers was, by months, by about 5 months in advance. And it is a great game. It's one of the best flip and write games out there. It's in my top 3. Definitely, and I think it's even overall for all roll and write games, it's in my top 5. Again, no negatives at all. These are all obviously top games. The reason why it's not higher up, I feel that I've played it multiple times. I've played with actually every single terrain type in terms of the ordering. I've played it all the different goals. I've gone through all of them. I've played through with the skills expansion or mini expansion, which you can get if you buy direct from Cartographers. And I did order this direct, and yeah, that's probably why I got it so far ahead of everyone else. I've played role player, just as good. I think I prefer it slightly. It's a big fan, huge fan base. And laying out the cards, it's fine. It only takes 30-40 minutes. It's nice drawing out those maps. I feel this. I want something more from the maps. It's nice to create your own tableau. It's nice there's like a negative aspect when you play obviously 3 or 4. Of course, it works as a 2. Great solo as well, nice fun experience, and it's well designed. In terms of going for, there are solo challenges as well, which I'll definitely be doing. So looking forward to trying that out. So it's really good. But yeah, it's a great game, and I think you'll see from other games on this list why it is where it is. Do I want to get out every single moment? No, but at the same time, I have played this game a lot, and maybe I'm not saturated. I reckon if we go to the amount of times people have played this, I am very fortunate to have played as much as I have. Having said that, I do feel that other people will just go, wow, I mean, look at this, 700 plus but I think 700 plus, they're probably playing it digitally for a start. And another factor is if you're looking into people who are playing some of these games, what are they playing instead? Are they playing other games instead? And I think that could well be a factor as to their view on it. But no, it's nicely done. In fact, I'm probably on page 5, which does seem quite low. But I just want to quickly show you something, and that's based on months this game was played. So if you go to stats, this is just to give you a bit of background. You can choose months, I believe. So you can choose this month, and I think you can tailor that. It might not be in this bit, in which case I might come back to it in a different time. I don't want to be distracting you. By all means, you might want to skip ahead. So you can obviously change these dates around, but I'll come back to them in due course. So let's move on to the next one, and we have Morels, aka Fungi. The version we have, or did have, is, because it's not currently in the house, is Pegasus Spieler. And again, it's the same size as those other games. You can get it for £8. All those games are pretty much about £8. 8 out of 10, very nice two-player game. It's one of the best two-player games out there. It's probably my top 10 of pure two-player games. And what you're doing is you're trying to make out a path. You're going out into the woods, you're frying up stuff. It looks like you've got some fan-made items here. And yeah, there's like a set collection going on. You're trying to, manage in your hand and get the best kind of forest going with fungi. There'll be different rarities, different types of fungi out there. You'll learn a lot from the Latin names as well. And this isn't necessarily the best picture, but I think give you a good indication of the various cards in play. To be honest, this is a different version of it, and I don't know. I like the art, to be honest, on this one. Not a fan of that. Yeah, here we go. Different pans, so different companies come on board. Let's check out this designer. Have they done anything else? But yeah, if you go to the Korean edition. Yeah, there's a different edition going on here. But yeah, you could be going to go out. You've even got custom design mats. People are loving this game. It's a game that, yeah, is a bit of a hidden gem. I think lots of people aren't necessarily aware of it. And it's therapeutic. You know, it's a 40-odd minute game, and it's a nice experience. I think ultimately, though, it's a set collection game, and for that reason, it might just get a bit boring after a while. I think Ticket to Ride, of course, has set collection, but the route building and the variety that you do it, I think sends it out a lot better. So has this person anything else? Agility? Never heard of that one. So, I don't know. An older game? Did it get much release? Not so much. Dominion. Well, in my opinion, the best deck building game, Dominion. There's been lots of rivals for it since. The reason why I like Intrigue is the second one, I believe, and there's also the second edition of it too. This is a game with the original one, SPIEL.digital, by Donald X. Vaccarino. He also happened to win it for Kingdom Builder a few years later. It's a multi-award winner for the most prestigious board game awards of all time, relating to best family game, replayability, easy to teach and learn. So, as for this particular game, I just like the theme. I like what it was. Unfortunately, I haven't played it much, and it turned out that I actually had a couple of copies of this game, and yeah, neither are in the house currently, which is why it's the same previously owned. But if you like Dominion, this is a very highly rated version as well. Multiple ways you can play different decks, which I'd love to play again, and I'm more than happy to consider playing whenever people want to. So that is Dominion Intrigue. Dixit Daydreams. So Dixit you can play as its own. You can play, I think, Daydreams on its own as well. You can just mix in those cards. And I just love the variety that these cards bring. If you just play with Dixit, you've got 80-odd cards, and that's fine. I just feel that eventually people are going to start naming things, and it's almost like gaming and metaing it a bit. So for that reason, I really like the cards and what they've chosen with the direction. And obviously, these all have a certain theme, and this is a great example of just some fascinating images going on here. And obviously, it's slightly blurry, slightly murky. Obviously, the haziness, but crucially, I'm guessing we're saying this is daytime and a daydream and what people are thinking. But with something like this one down the bottom here, that's very interesting compared to the thing at the top. So let's say this one here and this one here, like a minion. Deep Blue. So when I was at the Tabletop Gaming Live in London a couple of years ago, I said, what's everyone playing? And it was this. Everyone was queuing up for it. It's Days of Wonder. So Days of Wonder do some great looking games. We know that they've kind of gone by the wayside a little bit the last couple of years. And again, this designer sounds very familiar as well. I think he's Norwegian. And yeah, it's an interesting game whereby you're trying to go out in a boat, and again, it's strange why they're just not showing the better pictures up front, to be honest. But you're starting off here, you're looking to go out, you're looking to play some cards to reach these destinations first. If you reach it when other people reach there, you're going to get some points too. So you want to be only there with a few people, or yourself ideally perhaps. And then you're going to start diving down and grabbing some treasures, and you're going to get in from this bag. So it's a pool bag building game. And yes, I happened to do well when I played it, but there's a reason behind that, and that is, unfortunately, the demonstrators, they were rushing it, they had too many people, and they just cut the game short, so I kind of raced for a certain thing. So let's look at that designer, and Flam Rouge, well of course, well now we can see familiarity. I think I do prefer Flam Rouge. I haven't played 13 Days of the Cuban Missile Crisis. I have played Copenhagen. I kind of give Copenhagen a 6 out of 10. I think it's fine, but I think there's enough alternatives out there. Pit Crew. So this is an interesting game. This is a game you can play obviously in groups. It's a good cooperative game and a kind of racing game where you're competing against each other. And what's interesting about this game is, yeah, of course the theme. Racing is very cool, and you are literally racing. And you're looking to be obviously improving your car. So working together as a team, ideally, yes, this is best if you're playing, it's a 2 against 2. What's really good is I've actually played 3 teams, so a 3, 3 and a 3, and you're trying to obviously get your best car possible. Again, imagery, let's see if there's anything particularly suitable. I've looked at this in one before. Ultimately, you have a starting tile. You're looking to increase or decrease numbers typically. In this instance, we're going for cards here, and you're going to a 5, a 4, a 5 and a 6. So you're trying to work cooperatively within your little team to try and be the first team to obviously complete various things, such as getting engine repairs, getting your fuel cards, and various matters like that. So it's a very clever game. I liked it, and when I first tried it, like I said, it was actually as a 3, 3 and a 3. Really nice game by Stronghold Games, and yeah, I've only played it a couple of times. Definitely liked it the first time more when we were playing with that kind of odd number of teams. Haven't tried it as a 2, but it seems very interesting that yes, it seems probably a team of 3 in a couple of teams, or maybe groups of 2. I seem to be quite well though working as a 3. So Nobjects, a bit like Pictionary, and I think kind of replaces it. Very strange ending to the game. Again, check out my video, type in Nobjects and AmassGames into YouTube, and you'll see it there. And there aren't probably many videos out on this, to be honest. Let's just see if there are many at all. Yeah, there's not many. In fact, yeah, there's 5 in total. Was I the first? I was the first to get it out. Interesting game. It was Meeple's Corner who just said Nobjects. Say Nobjects. It's just I talk about that in the video too briefly. Yeah, it's very interesting what's going on there. And yes, it's a game whereby, for example, this rose, I could try and draw this with my shape, you know, with my cursor or obviously with my finger. And you might say, oh, fork, devil, or something. And there's 3 levels of complexities, green, yellow, and red. And the red ones can be pretty hard. I need to go through them in order to try and win the game. Lots of fun. People have played this at birthday parties and things. Very effective. It doesn't seem like a vlog that many plays, but obviously, as with everything, people want to be in the mood to play it. And I was one of the first people to play it. Unfortunately, I can't figure out exactly when I first did that in terms of comparing it to other people. But yeah, 8 plays, so yeah, number 1 there currently. So One Night Ultimate Alien. This is in the One Night Ultimate Werewolf series. You can mix and match it. This time you're trying to not be caught as an alien or catch the aliens as they were. I don't like the cow part of it because they have cow tipping and you basically prod somebody. And the blob is funny too, so you can fist bump or basically slowly, gently pretend to use your fist to go into someone's shoulder. So nice kind of changes to the game. And yes, I like this one as well. Haven't played it that much, obviously 4 plays. It's less common, and I think unless you've already played the other ones, you'd probably go for that one first before you'd go for Alien, so of course it doesn't hit the table as often. So, Panic on Wall Street. This is a negotiation, real-time sort of bidding game, and a fantastic game whereby you're shouting out, saying, "Oh, you know, I'll trade with you, I'll trade with you." And I've played as a 6, and in the pub, you know, I'm shouting to player A, B, C, D, or E, etc., saying, "Oh yeah, I'll deal with you this round, deal with you that one." And I was constantly having a mental note in my mind as to who I was dealing with, so I was able to ultimately do the best I could, and it happened to be a game I happened to do really well at. Excuse me, and yeah, 970,000 points I think I had. Apologies for not pausing the mic there, but a slight issue with the mic. But yeah, very much enjoyable game, and highly recommend you check this one out, especially like on a second-hand shelf or something. So this is for Port Royal, a top 10 game of all time, so I harp on about this game a lot. Quite an easy promo to get hold of. Local games still happen to have Port Royal, and they gave us this card as well. Like Push Your Luck, this adds more Push Your Luck, in fact. Not that it necessarily needs it, whereby you're trying to specifically get a certain amount of cards. So, compared to the other bits in Port Royal, I don't favour that one that much. It's always mixed in with the deck, but it's never a card I feel like I must play with. It's the least important of the Port Royal cards. Having said that, if you're into Port Royal, I think it's nice when people have played a bit of Port Royal, they go, oh, well, what's this one do? So of course you need to explain that bit too, so I wouldn't chuck it in with your base game. But yeah, if you choose not to fend something off, then yeah, it lets you get an extra purchase. So you must do an extra 4 cards, so it is nice, it's very nice, it definitely isn't essential. So, moving on to 5 tribes. We've actually got a game here which was not nominated for SPIEL.digital, surprisingly. Lots of people will probably regard this game by Bruno Cathala as his best. And, yep, Days of Wonder did a great job on the artwork here. He did win SPIEL.digital's for King Domino in 2016. And this is a Mancala themed game. This is a game whereby you're looking to go out onto a board, and yep, you can get 6 tribes. You can play it 6 players. Everyone gets this game, opens it on the table and go, oh, there's 5 of us. So they think you can only play it, they think it's a 5-player game, but it's not. It's up to 4 players typically. But what you're going to be doing is you're trying to get various resources. You're looking to have a bag, and you're going to be going outwards from these locations. So maybe you start here, and it allows you to place 1 worker here, 1 worker here, 1 worker here. Wherever you land, it's normally where you're activating. And you're getting points based on various things, like the yellow people here, these viziers. They can give you points at the end of the game, depending on who has the most. And speaking about having 5 and 6 players, yes, there are some expansions, and I do recommend them. I think they're nice. I've played with a couple of the expansions, which are actually in the box. So if you want to see videos on that, please check out my YouTube video. Type 5 tribes space AmassGames, and you'll have a look at that. For me, though, I haven't tried it solo. There's a new solo rule that you can now play, and I do actually have Gins of Nakala, and I said I've got the expansions. I just feel that, yeah, this is a classic analysis paralysis game. There's over 1,900 opening moves, and it's definitely not for everyone. Will Wit I used to own as well. Artisans of Nakala, Thieves of Nakala. Some of these are very cheap. They're just a few cards just to add things and various around. Will Wit is just a very mean kind of card, and isn't necessarily a thing I'd recommend. But it's something you might want to play, especially if you like Will Wheaton. Cool. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the next game now, and that is Gloops. This is a game by Queen Games, and Gloops is an abstract strategy game, an interesting game. I've only played it a couple of times. I liked it the first time. The owner of the game had a score of 24, I had 25, and I think the winner had 26. That's very close. And what you're doing is you're trying to place a thing such as a 3 here, as you can see over here, and it's 3 away from 4. Well, that means it's threatening to get that piece. You might play a 1, so I'm threatening to get that piece because it's 1 away. So it's a very interesting kind of almost unraveling kind of game, whereby, a bit like in chess, you're trying to defend a piece until eventually play all your pieces out, and then things get resolved and you try to get your score. But obviously with multiple players, that's why it's better with more players. You're ending up trying to keep an eye on who's controlling what zone, what area, etc. So that is Gloops. I haven't tried it as a 4 actually, I don't believe. But no, I found it a very interesting thing. I don't know how long I would keep this in such a position if I revisit this 250 in years to come. But yeah, interesting as it is, I don't think it'll go any higher. I think it's just an interesting concept and fine. But obviously, compared to other games, it's up there. There are a number of games which are worse, but for core games, I'm not planning to own this game, shall we say, in collections, just based on how I log things I've played. So yeah, that's all he's done. On to Nippon. So this is a Japanese themed game by the Portuguese company What's Your Game? The artist here is actually the owner of the company, and this is a game whereby it's a worker placement game set in Japan, and you're trying to control the most areas. It's quite a heavy game, as you can see. I've played as a 3 or a 4, just a 3 I think. Haven't played it on Board Game Arena, but intend to. And it is on the want to play list because it's all about the trains. When I sometimes play games, I choose to not go for everything, but the people who won these games have won it before. I've played it before, and it's because you are choosing to try to win things. So yeah, I would like to try this on Board Game Arena and see what it's like on there. But yes, it's a very interesting game. Not much more to say. Like I said, it's a complex game involving worker placement, trying to grab different things, and having that area majority. So, apologies for the briefness there. On to Gold West. So this is a much swifter game, 45 to 60 minutes by TMG. And what you're looking to do here, you're kind of prospecting, a bit of territory building and economy building. I'm going to go to a particular image which shows you the board. And you're starting in the center of this board, and you're going outwards, and you're trying to go up various trails and tracks. So here are these various tracks over here, and you're trying to do well on various different wagon routes. The first to reach various milestones gives you 5 points, or say 7 points, and you need to go next to where you currently are, and you're going to get resources. When you get these resources, it allows you to basically convert and get other points. Those other points could be useful for completing other contracts, or trying to do something which just enables you to get more points higher up on various tracks. If I just show you this image here, there's basically this track, this cart, which is basically you could go for the wooden track, you could choose to go for the golden track, might be clay, those kind of, I guess, minerals or resources with different varying powers and stuff in terms of what you get for them and points. Some of them worth 7 points, having the most, etc. So an interesting concept for a game, and nice and swift and easy. This is the final one. This is 201, so we are now going to be on to the 200th best game of all time according to myself, and that will be in the next video, so check out the playlist. But Friday is a solitaire game. It's by Freedom and Freeze. All his names start with an F, and they always have a greenness in the game, and also typically by Harold Lasky, the artist, always with green as well. So Freedom and Freeze has green hair, and unfortunately there aren't many good pictures that literally just show you what one card looks like. But in this instance, you're trying to fight off pirates. You're going to go through various levels, and it's very innovative in the sense that you have a card, and you're going to use one side of a card. So you're using, say, food, and if you get food, you've now got yourself an extra piece of, call it palm leaf. You've got yourself an extra life, and depending on the amount of lives, you're going to then try and see if you can battle off a pirate, because each time you go through the deck, you're going to have to deal with different things. In this instance, you've got, if you're doing an easier mode, you might have 2 baddies, it could be 5, it could be 8, until eventually you get past those 4 tiers and then you're onto the pirates. So it's a game that keeps coming back. It's not an easy game. It's a game that I've played a fair amount, to be honest. There's an app version which I might try out. It does really hold your attention, and that is Friday, a game that I said I really enjoyed and highly recommend it. It's, like I said, one of the best solo games out there. You can also get a fan-made version, so this is someone's made over here too. So nice small box, very, very clever, and highly rated, and it did get lots of nominations as well. So there we go, this is Friday, and yeah, thank you very much. I look forward to bringing you the next in the series. Again, any questions, comments, subscriptions, anything like that, please let me know, and I'll be back to you in due course. All the best, bye for now.